What's going on, people? Welcome back to the channel. It's Slick Mason once again here. I just wanted to discuss another topic with you guys today, which is are people really being racist to me, or am I just making things up in my head? So, the reason why I wanted to discuss this is because I think this is something that's always going on in the back of the minds of a lot of people. Um, of when they're of a minority race like myself, right? So it's a pretty sensitive topic to get into, but I think it's important to discuss it because sometimes you may not understand where somebody's coming from. And I think I've made that mistake sometimes thinking that they were being racist, but maybe they're just a person who doesn't know that they are being racist. Or let's say it's somebody who has never really been around people of my kind a lot, and they've always been around, let's say, a predominantly white neighborhood, predominantly Indian neighborhood. Maybe they had one black person there, and they used to treat them a certain way, and expect that all of us would just let things slide like they let things slide with them, right? So this is just a topic I wanted to get into because I thought it was important to discuss it. So I'll give you guys some experiences I've had in the past where I may have misinterpreted if someone was being racist to me, or maybe they weren't. I also won't just talk about one race, being racist to me, and I'll talk about like different kinds of races, so you guys could get a different perspective of where I'm coming from with this. So, in high school, right, the first experience I'll get into is there was an exchange program I went to here in Canada, and when I was in high school, I pretty much was, the Ugandan kid with a certain accent, and I was trying to understand and learn the Canadian accent so I could fit in with the kids at school. So at some point, I went for an exchange program, and these kids were cool, most of them, but they hadn't hung around a lot of black people before. Like they didn't understand certain things, like they would say that would come off as being racist, right? But someone like myself at that point in time, I also hadn't been integrated into Canadian society um, so much that I could understand when that was happening or not, right? So at that point in time, I was pretty green, let's say, as far as being black in North America is concerned, right? So this kid asked me a question at some point in time where I was like, I just answered it, right? Just because I didn't see it as being racist at the time. I just answered it straight up. So he asked me, why are you so dark? Like, why is it that you're actually like darker than everybody else? Right? And then I told him the answer I gave him was, pretty interesting. I just said, you know what, when you go around the globe, right, and you go from North America and go all the way to Africa, people start getting darker as you go around the globe, right? Now that's just what I kind of made up in my mind with my imagination when I was a kid, just to explain to him that, hey, there are darker people in this world, and depending on where the sun is hitting more, right? Yeah, we get darker. We get pretty dark, right? So that was just an interesting way for me to explain to him what was happening. But the truth of the matter is, there's people, dark skinned people all over the place. And I think some people just, like they may say something like that because they're curious, right? So I'm just giving this as an example of, of that kid. He was just out of curiosity saying that. I don't think it came from a negative place. But, if someone, let's say, someone may perceive that as being a racist comment to say, and then they bring it up to them, or say, oh, you're trying to be racist to me or something. I don't, these days I don't go for confrontation first because I don't want to think the worst of people immediately. I try to give them a chance to explain where they're coming from and then react, right? Now, when I was a kid at that point in time and I was green over here, yeah, I wasn't so quick to react. But then once I started, getting all these messages from the media telling me, oh, white people are racist against you, or they're trying to attack the black man every single time. They're never gonna give you any kind of opportunity for you to get ahead of them, right? That's when I started getting these thoughts in my head and trying to analyze everything that a person of a different race said to me, right? So it's very dangerous to get into that mindset, in my opinion. But we'll get to that in a second. Now, I'll just give you another experience I had here. So on the opposite end of the spectrum, when I got in high school here and I arrived as an immigrant, the first thing I got from when I got to high school, all the black kids said that I was whitewashed, and I didn't understand what the hell they meant. Because to me, in my brain, I was like, bro, I came from Africa, the motherland itself. I know the tribe I'm from. I speak a tribal language from that country, right? I know exactly what my heritage is from the motherland. You don't know anywhere that you're from right now. You need 20, some DNA tests to actually understand where your lineage is coming from, and even then you can't trace back where you're actually from. But I can. But I'm the one who's whitewashed, and you are a person who's, you know, who like feels like you're blacker than me, right? So to me, that didn't make sense at all at that point in time. So I just kept it moving. But to me, I felt insulted by that coming from people with the same skin color as me, right? So that was one situation where I felt like that felt like actual racism to me, right, at that point in time. But now that I'm older, I understand why they're saying that. It's because whitewashed at that point in time meant, hey, you're speaking too proper, right? You need to maybe get into more of the black stuff, be it, whatever it was at that point in time. And this was back in like '05, right? '06. So the perception of black people was that we had to put on a certain character and act hard all the time, and be these dudes that were intimidating all the time or whatever, and dress a certain way. But as I got older, I really don't care about that stuff anymore. I don't really follow those kinds of trends. What I do is try to be myself and try to be courteous to other people, right? And the other thing is that if there's any kid out there who actually feels like they're out of place, a black kid who feels like they're out of place because they're intelligent, right? The way they talk and articulating things is out of the norm of what people expect, right? And they're actually like, they're able to be who they actually are, and people are making fun of them and saying that they're whitewashed and stuff. Just remember this: you will probably have a more successful time in society than those bullies are to you, right? So just remember that black people are not a monolith, right? There's so many of us that are different. There's some of us that are so brilliant out there, and there's no reason for you to dumb down your brilliantness for other people. Right? So anyway, I'll go to the next point. So there's another situation in the past where some people started using the N word a bit too casually, right? A bit too casually. They got a bit too comfortable. And that stuff used to bother me so much until I realized, oh, these guys think it's a term of endearment and they could just keep getting away with it, right? Now, back in the day, I would get really pissed off and just kind of try to walk away, or I try to start something with them. But at the end of the day, at this point in time in my life, I don't care. I don't care. If someone says it, right, and they think it's a funny thing, I'll try to brush it off. But then if they keep doing it and try to get under my skin with it, then we have a problem, right? Then I kind of step in and say, yo, bro, you're really stepping over the line here. And then if they actually push it to the limit and just make it seem like they will not stop saying it, then I'll just walk away. I'll just walk away until they try to provoke me, and then I have to do something. But barring that, it's better for me to just get away from those kinds of people, because that's who they are. And if they think that pushing buttons to that point and trying to get a rise out of me is the way they want to interact with me, right? There's no point in me wasting my energy on them. Okay, another situation is if a comedian, for example, is poking fun at a certain race of people, I don't get insulted at all, right? I try to look at it in the context of what it is, which is um, that comedian is doing their job. They're trying to be funny at that point in time. Now, there's some things that cross the line fine, but I believe that when somebody's a comedian, I think they should at least get to a point where they're almost stepping over the line. They how do I define it? So it has to be something where they toe the line, right? They toe that line between like insulting, right? Something that's sensitive to talk about, but they find a way to spin it around and then make it work for their set, and it's actually funny. So those are the comedians I actually like, right? I don't want to sit at a comedy show and have somebody scared to make a joke about me just because I'm black. Like that doesn't work for me, and I don't like that kind of comedy show. I think I actually like comedy shows where everybody's getting it. I don't care what it is. I don't care what it is because that's what we're there to do. We're there to laugh, right? We're there to actually engage in cultural exchange so we can understand each other's differences, accept them, and have a good time, right? So I don't really get insulted when comedians do it because I know they're working on a set, right? You're trying to see if people are actually receptive to your material, right? If it's gonna work or if it isn't gonna work. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, right? Sometimes you bomb. That's just what it is to be a comedian, right? So in those situations, I don't get insulted. So the takeaway from this is that I believe we all have prejudice people around us, right? In every shape, race, color, whatever it is, right? But um, the thing is, we should try to see each other's differences and kind of look at each other on an individual basis and just, you know, pretty much judge a person by their character, right? As Martin Luther King said, right? Judging a person by their character, who they are, how they behave around you, because at the end of the day, maybe they're just ignorant to racism and they don't understand what it is to be racist to you as a minority, right? And then there's also situations, right, where a black person may be saying some stuff that's actually racist, and I'm like, yo, bro, that's a bit too far. Like, I'm not going that far as um, being prejudiced to other races because that doesn't make sense to me. Why am I hating this person because their people were seen doing blah blah blah? That's exactly what they're doing to us, right? They look at a group of us and go like, oh, all of you are ratchet, or all of you are gangsters, or all of you are smoking weed and stuff like that. I mean, there's people who still approach me randomly and ask me for weed, like, and I haven't smoked in like so long. I don't even remember the last time I had a spliff, right? But at the end of the day, I think I treat people on an individual basis. I look at somebody's character. In fact, my friend circle has people of so many different races. You'd think, like, and ages too, right? You'd think that you'd go like, where did he meet this person? Like, what? How is this group of friends even existing right now, right? So that's how I treat people, right? And that's how I think people should treat me. Although I can only control what I can control, which is my actions and my reactions to certain situations in life. So, anyways, that's what I wanted to talk about today. Please like, share, subscribe, and also just to let you guys know, I have a project that I'm working on coming out where I'm trying to put together a bunch of tracks together. Have and see if I could get you guys' opinion on that, and also fundraise in order to bring you guys a bunch of shows to your city, depending on where my subscribers are and where the biggest population of them is. And then after we get to our goal of funding, which is I'm actually working on the line items right now, what we'll do is we'll put all that money together, put together some thank you packages for the first 50 people that buy tickets to the shows that I'm putting on, right? And then they'll get some free merch. They'll also get some a thank you note, and they'll also get in and get into the show with proper access to the stage and stuff like that, right? So, I mean, I got to keep pushing as well on this YouTube thing and try to do as much as I can as a content creator. I'm learning as I go, but I appreciate you guys giving me the time and actually, rocking with me over here while I'm working through this creative, creative world as it is, right? Because you can't just be a musician anymore. You just have to, your talent is not enough. You got to put in some more work in different areas and try to get people interested in what it is that you're doing. So that's the reason why I started this channel, and that's what I'm trying to promote as much as I possibly can. So this is a conversation I really wanted to have. Please chime in down in the comments. Let me know what you think, and see you guys later.